Hey, hey, hey. Happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Daily Dope is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at the Gaming Gang channel, and I am bringing you the latest tabletop gaming news with the Daily Dope. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Wednesday, September 9th, 2020. This is episode 539 of the Daily Dope. This is the first time you've joined me. Let me point out, this is very, very casual, just hanging out, talking about tabletop gaming news. So I bring you the latest in board games, card games, role-playing games, miniatures games. What's going on your tabletop? We are talking about it. Every once in a while, we'll chat a little bit about PC games, usually on Thursdays. And of course, on occasion, we do talk about pop culture as well. But for the most part, it's pretty much all tabletop gaming news. So also do want to point out that if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell because it will not only let you know when I stream the Daily Dope live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload standalone videos as well, including my review of Dungeons & Dragons, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. We're going to talk a little bit about this a little bit later. Not a whole ton, just something that I find very curious. But we will talk about that. Also, don't forget, if you want to get in the running to win this copy in my hands, of the alternate artwork cover for Rime of the Frost Maiden, be sure to check out the review video. I tell you how you can win. And I will reveal the winner on September 29th, right here on the Daily Dope. Of course, also do want to point out when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, because this is a live stream, that also means that chat is available right here on YouTube. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay, but I do pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, or maybe you've got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. Sometimes chat flies by pretty quickly, but I do my best to pay attention. So far, we've got the Madman and Flaming Huron hanging out in chat tonight. So, want to jump into the news? Got quite a bit of news cooking tonight. Good mix of things as well. Plus, we're going to talk about some games that are right on the horizon. Because, first off, arriving from Pandasurus Games, this is next month, is a Japanese garden-themed card game. And I've got the dope on Ohanami. I believe that's how it's pronounced. I think it is pronounced Ohanami. Don't know. We'll find out. I'm sure somebody will tell me, no, Jeff, that's wrong. Here's the dope. Ohanami consists of a deck of 120 cards that are numbered from, you guessed it, 1 to 120. With each card having one of 4 symbols on it. The game lasts 3 rounds, with players scoring at the end of each round, in addition to bonus scoring at the end of the game. At the start of a round, each player receives a hand of 10 cards. Each player then chooses 2 cards, then passes the remaining cards to the left. All players reveal their cards at the same time, then decide whether to use 0, 1, or 2 of them in personal rows of cards. When you start a row, you can use any card. To add a card to an existing row, that card must be higher than that row's highest card or lower than the lowest one. A player can have at most 3 rows of cards. Discard any cards you don't use. Players repeat this drafting, passing, and playing process until they've played 10 cards. The first round ends, and the players now receive 3 points for each blue card in their rows. Players then receive a new hand of 10 cards to start round 2. Once again, doing the same, choosing the 2 cards, passing the rest, but now to the right. Players continue building on the rows they already have, scoring 3 points for each blue card and 4 points for each green card at the end of round 2. For round 3, players have 10 more cards and pass cards to the left once again. At the end of this round, players once again score for their blue and green cards. Now they'll also receive 7 points for each gray card in their rows. Additionally, each player scores for their pink cherry blossom cards, with these cards having a pyramidal scoring structure. 1 card, 1 point, 2 cards, 3 points, 3 cards, 6 points, etc. Whoever has the highest total score wins. Owanami is for 2 to 4 players, ages 8 and up, plays in around 20 minutes. It's going to arrive, actually, I think it's next week. I've heard 2 different things. I have heard one distributor say it comes out next month. And then I have also seen another distributor saying it comes out next week. So I can tell you this is on the near horizon. It is going to carry an MSRP of $14.95. So if you are a fan of just card games, kind of more traditional styled card games, this might be something you might want to take a peek at. It looks like it could be relatively relaxing. It's got some pleasant artwork as well. So something to keep an eye out for. Another title, which now I know this one is actually coming out next week. It is from Portal Games. Here's the dope on Detective Season 1. Detective, a modern crime board game, Season 1, aka Detective Season 1, is a fully cooperative, deeply immersive board game in which 1 to 5 players take on the roles of investigators trying to solve a crime. Detective Season 1 is a new product in the award-winning detective line, one with a shorter playing time that's tailored for a mystery game night with simpler, family-friendly rules. I have not played Detective, so I don't know if they have non-family friendly rules. The game consists of 3 standalone cases, and each of them can be played in around 90 minutes. Each of the cases challenges players with different settings and styles. The cases are Blood, Ink, and Tears. Oh, man, I love that band. Moves the action to Great Britain, where players visit an old mansion and discover family secrets from the past that lead them to clues behind the mysterious death of the family patron. Fans of Agatha Christie's novels will find themselves at home in this rather funny case. Solid Alibi throws players in the middle of a bloody conflict between gangs and criminals in the Italian district. Players have to not the crime and discover who killed Robert Parkson, but also witness growing tension in the district and find out who to trust in the spiral of violence and mutual accusations. Then there's Natural Causes, which takes players to a university campus in the U.S. Professor Kelvin Higgs is found dead in his lab at the Biology Institute of Virginia University. Players need to find out whether his death is from natural causes, or perhaps there's someone in his surroundings responsible for this horrible crime. But what could have been the motive? Detective, a modern crime board game, Season 1, say that 5 times fast, is for 1 to 5 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 90 to 120 minutes, and it will carry an MSRP of $30 when it hits stores next week. I believe we're looking, I think it's the 18th that it's supposed to be popping out there. So The madman is asking if it's his imagination or are we dropping frames? And yes, for some strange reason, once again, we are having issues of it jumping up and down, and I have no idea. I have looked to see if there is a an update for OBS Studio. There is not. There's nothing new for OBS Studio. I have checked. I just did a new update for Windows earlier today. So let's see. I'm going to, it kind of clears up a little bit. So let's see if I can change this a little. All right. I'm wondering, I don't know if it's the encoder or not. Could be an issue going on with that. Because I don't recall. It seems like it's changed. I haven't taken a deep dive into this, but it looks like it may have changed the encoder that I use. Because normally I could have swore it is NVIDIA that I have it set through NVIDIA that does the encoding. So I don't know. So we'll find out. We'll see what happens. But right now, yes, it does look like we have dropped about 9% of the frames. Man, crazy. And once again, this is everything started happening September 1st, right, like almost like right on the dot. If you remember, we were doing the 10th anniversary show, and suddenly during that, we had these goofy hiccups where we would see the stream dropping frames all over the place. So once this show's over tonight, I will dive back in and I will take a look to see if the issue is the encoder, because for some reason it's showing an X264 encoding, and I could have swore it usually is set as NVIDIA. So Dan from No Enemies Here is here. Here. So it says, once he was watching me and I looked like his ex-mother-in-law. Okay. All right. I don't know if that's supposed to be funny, Dan, but I don't find it very funny. All right. So anyway, one thing I do want to mention about Detective, a modern crime board game, season 1, is I have run across some conflicting information. So the distributor sites don't say anything about you needing to have Detective, which is Detective, a modern crime board game, which I think is like a $60 game. And it didn't say anything because I take a look at 2 distributor websites. Usually it kind of gets you an idea of what's going on with the release dates. Because sometimes one has one and the other doesn't have any, or they both show the same thing, or what have you. Now, the Portal website says you need to have Detective to play this. So it's as if this is an expansion. It's like it's new cases for Detective. But the other distributors are not saying that you need to have Detective. So I'm a little up in the air with this. I don't know. I have no idea. So yes, Dan's talking about it's the mushrooms. So yes, they're I guess I don't know, maybe Dan will explain this because I saw it on Twitter, and I wasn't following everything going on, but I saw something where I guess Grant from, I start talking about Grant like everybody knows who Grant is. That Grant from the Player's Aid is supposed to be on Dan's show. And then I guess it was supposed to be a secret. Now, it was either Dan or Alexander, or not Dan. It was either Grant or Alexander, but I thought it was Grant. And Grant tweeted something like, I don't know what's going on here. And it's Dan's acting all crazy. So I said, must be an unusual batch of mushrooms, because I think folks know that Dan Pancaldi is a mushroom fan. He's out, searching for mushrooms all the time. So I don't know. So maybe Dan will clear that up if it was something that was supposed to be a surprise, like Dan was going to do a show and then suddenly, boom, there was Grant, and people were going to go, oh wow, it's Grant from the Player's Aid, or what? I don't know. But all I know is I saw a tweet from Grant saying, like, Dan's acting all crazy. It's like, I'm supposed to be on a show, but what's going on? And I was like, I don't know. So I commented, yes, Dan must have gotten a hold of some bad mushrooms. All right, let's move on to our next news piece, because this is another game that is hitting next week. This one's from Pegasus Speile. This one sounds very bizarre, but might be kind of cool. Here is the dope on Armada Strigoi. I think that might be how it's pronounced. The eternal struggle between vampires and werewolves is coming to an end. The last vampire master and his apprentice, Strigoi from Wallachia, are dwelling in the ancient fortress of Tismana, a stronghold haunted by evil undead creatures. Nevertheless, the Power Wolf, sons of the Legends of the Night and the Armenia Savage Army, the defenders of the real truth, prepare for a last frantic assault, knowing there are no alternatives to victory. Armada Strigoi, I don't know, is a game in which the Power Wolf win or lose as a team, but each player makes their own decisions about their actions and movements. Each player represents one of the Power Wolf heroes, which assault the Strigoi's fortress as a single pack. In order to win, they have to defeat both vampires. However, the two foes are initially invulnerable, and their vitality is intrinsically linked to their dwelling fortress. Thus, upon the demise of the first vampire, the whole structure will start to crumble and collapse on itself, making the victory a race against time. The Power Wolf act collectively, but a pack of werewolves during a furious assault is not known to be a highly organized band that can devise and set up high-profile strategies and tactics. Hence, the players are forbidden from sharing details about their cards, though they can talk to each other, propose joint actions, or heal a comrade. Victory is achieved by defeating both Strigoi. To make them vulnerable, the Power Wolf must first collect blood points by decimating the fellow creatures of the night who haunt the fortress. During their quest, they can always collect weapons and magical artifacts. If one Strigoi perishes, the other immediately turns into a Supreme Master Vampire. I am the Supreme Master Vampire, making them even more lethal. At the same time, the fortress starts to crumble and collapse room by room. If both Strigoi are defeated, the Power Wolf pack wins the game. It's not an easy task, but let the hunt begin. Armada Strigoi is for 2 to 5 players, ages 14 and up, plays in 60 to 90 minutes, and it will carry an MSRP of $59.99 when it hits on September 18th. So these miniatures look pretty cool. So this board game is the official board game of the heavy metal band Power Wolf. It's like, okay. Armada Strigoi. So the band, yes, the heavy metal band is called Power Wolf, and this is their board game. So anyway, Dan is saying, hey, sorry for the loss in translation rant. Don't worry about it, Dan. It's fine. Just like, don't know. Anyway, so Fleming Huron says, this is an advertisement to follow Dan and you on Twitter. Yeah, see, that's the thing. If you don't follow myself on Twitter, you actually don't know what's coming up on the news, or, if it's a holiday and I've completely forgotten about that it's a holiday. Oink. Anyway, I wish there were more images I could share. as far as this game, all we really have is the back of the box that shows the other components outside of the miniatures. But this could be kind of cool. The one thing that I actually sounds very interesting is that you can't, even though it's a cooperative game and you're working together to take down these vampires, you can't share information about the cards, which no doubt must be like your action cards that you get, that you can't share that with the other players. I think that's very interesting. I think that's kind of cool. All right, moving right along, let's move on to my next news piece. Actually, so far with the news today, in fact, all the news pieces today are things that are coming out very soon or already out. And yesterday marked the arrival of two new Alien role playing game releases from Free League Publishing. We talked a bit about the starter set already. Here's the dope on Destroyer of Worlds. The mission was a manhunt. The objectives clear. Track down 4 fugitives, recover any assets they may have made off with, and keep them all out of enemy hands. Go find them on a frozen moon full of hostiles and get it done on the eve of war. Nothing you couldn't handle. But what is it that these bastards sold? And how the hell it got inside them is another thing altogether. It's all above your pay grade, Marine, but somehow you're the one who's got to deal with it. Of course, now there's an invasion fleet incoming, and there's something else too. Something much worse. Something out there hates you, hates everyone. Something big and ugly, something with metal teeth, and you're pretty sure it ain't alone. Yeah, the mission was supposed to be a simple manhunt. Instead, it turned out to be just another glorious day in the Corps. Destroyer of Worlds is a complete cinematic scenario for the Alien role playing game, written by sci fi novelist Andrew E.C. Gaska. In Destroyer of Worlds, players take the roles of colonial marines. The scenario is designed for 3 to 5 players, plus the game mother. Hate that term. I just dislike that term. And it's a gauntlet of one hell after another, expected to take 3 sessions to complete. This set contains the main Destroyer of Worlds scenario book, a huge double-sided map of Arichis. I think it's pronounced that, or Arichis, maybe it's Arichis. Arichis Colony on one side, and the Fort Nebraska Space Elevator ground base on the other. 7 pre-generated characters to choose from, custom cards for weapons, vehicles, and personal agendas, player maps, and handouts. Do have to point out, you do require either the Alien RPG core rulebook or the starter set to play Destroyer of Worlds. You can get the 88-page PDF right now at DriveThru RPG for $14.99. The box set is available as well, and it does carry an MSRP of $29.99. Sweet. I keep saying it, I have not had an opportunity to take a peek at the Aliens role-playing game. I do hear good things about it. I do think that it would probably be very difficult for you to run an ongoing campaign with it. It just strikes me as it is more like one shot, or like, for an example, a Destroyer of Worlds. It says that it should take about 3 sessions, but kind of more standalone adventures, I think, is pretty much the forte for the Alien role-playing game. So I've got a question. Maybe someone out there can answer this. I don't know if they can, but in Aliens, in fact, it's kind of funny because my brother, here, let's pop back over here. So my brother was friends with, I don't know if he still knows her, but he was friends with the actress who plays the drop shuttle pilot. So anyway, my question has nothing to do with that. It's just kind of funny. My brother was friends with Rob Schneider. So I don't know. Anyway, so here's my question. So in the movie, they talk about another bug hunt. So are we to assume that in the alien universe that there's already other aliens besides the xenomorphs? People have a hard time explaining that one, right? Because if I remember correctly, and it's been a while since I watched Aliens, but they're commenting about, yes, it's going to be another bug hunt and it's going to be a waste of time. So I'm kind of curious. I don't know. Plus, this adventure, Destroyer of Worlds, is talking about an invasion fleet and of humans. I don't know. Kind of curious. Because as far as I understood from the movies, and I will be the first to point out, after Aliens, I have seen the other movies, but I've only seen each of them once. I didn't think much of them. Plus, a lot of times they had, like Alien 3. That's like, okay, we're gonna kill off Newt and what's his face? Hicks. It's like what? It's like what? But I'm kind of curious. So if you have any ideas in chat, let me know. Or if you watch after the fact and you have a good handle on the alien universe, let me know. Are there supposed to be other aliens out there except, I should say outside of the xenomorphs? I don't know. I have no idea. All right, let's move on to the last news piece because there's an interesting looking new role playing game. It arrived, I believe this just came out possibly yesterday as well. It is from UFO Press, and I've got the dope on Shattered City. A fragmented land thrums with geomantic power. Hungry empires paint new borders with the blood of their citizens. Rebels in a twice conquered city dream of freedom. Shattered City is a role playing game about occupation and revolution in a fantasy world ravaged by war. Together, you'll build a city and sketch out its wonders and scars. You'll take the reins of factions working to bring freedom to this city, or the foreign guild sent to bring it to heal. You'll make the heroes of this city bold warriors, civic leaders, and uncanny mystics. And together, you'll tell the tale of this place's struggle for freedom. Freedom! They'll never take our freedom! As flashpoints threaten to set the city ablaze, as you fight to pull down the occupying forces or work within their systems to earn yourself prosperity, as you work with the others to find moments of beauty and hope, what sort of community will you build? And what mysteries will you uncover along the way? Tell your own saga. Shattered City matches the faction scale gameplay of Legacy Life Among the Ruins with Tabula Games' bizarre and beautiful Mysthea? Mysthea? Maybe it's Mysthea. It's Mysthea. So we'll say Mysthea. Anyway, along with the bizarre and beautiful Mysthea universe to tell a story of empire and rebellion in a crystal-encrusted land with dozens of character and faction options, pages filled with beautiful art, and tools to help shape your story as it spans years of time. Shattered City has everything you need to play. Make your own faction in the Resistance with 9 different house playbooks, clandestine revolutionaries, city priests, titan hunters, and more. Define your occupiers with 5 different guild playbooks. Merchants, nobles, soldiers, priests, or scholars enforce their rule in distinct ways. Step into the shoes of one of 15 hero playbooks and change your playbook over your campaign from a hardy toiler to a reliable sentinel to a respected veteran. Build a web of alliances as you plot your revolution. Explore a fantasy world encrusted with crystalline magic. Walk the lonesome road of a single hero with the solo play mode. This 240-page PDF is available right now at DriveThruRPG for $20. There is a print version that is expected before the end of the year. Very nice. I do want to mention, because it was not included in the press information for this release, I do believe that this is powered by the apocalypse, because Legacy, Life in the Ruins, or Life Among the Ruins, I should say, is a powered by the apocalypse game. And when they're talking about playbooks, that is a very powered by the apocalypse phrase, that the heroes have playbooks. So this could be pretty interesting. I really like the concept of a role-playing game that progresses over years and generations, that does not take you years and generations to play. All right, that is it for the news tonight. So Ben Jarrett has arrived. Good to see you, Ben. Those of you out there might remember Ben is the gentleman who has Moons and Stars, which is a strategy game. It is a kind of like handcrafted strategy game, which I just got a copy. I am going to get a chance to take a peek at that. I am going to do my best, fingers crossed, to have a video up for it this weekend. I don't know if it'll be up. Ben can tell us when the Kickstarter for Moons and Stars is going to end. But hopefully I get the video up while the Kickstarter's still going. I have to admit, over the weekend, everything was kind of devoted to, because people already know Dungeons and Dragons stuff drives traffic, right? So if you're one of the first ones out there to get something up, you will get a lot of traffic. So let me pop in. We'll talk about what's going on in chat, and then I will kind of discuss something about the rhyme of the Frost Maiden, which I find kind of unusual. The funny thing is, it's not really about the adventure. It's about how it's being presented, I guess, or at least how gamers are thinking it's being presented. I don't know. So Flaming Heron says they don't know. They didn't mind Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I didn't dislike them, but what the hell do they call them? The guys who are supposed to have created humanity and then were pissed off by us. I know they're in it, and then remember they had the two kind of alien creatures that combined and became the xenomorph. But the thing is, I don't know. That's why I'm asking about like the bug hunt. Is I don't know if humanity knows these things exist. That's my question. So I don't know. So the madman says, "Ooh, gonna have to check out Moon and Stars." Yeah, you must have missed that episode, because I did talk about that. Shared the video as well. So, and of course, Bennett said, "Oh, I'm a little late." Hey, like the madman said, better late than never. So, and as far as Shattered City, Flaming Heron says it looks pretty interesting. Always a sucker for new RPGs. The wish list is filling up again. Yeah, there's always some interesting stuff out there. I already have my RPG news for tomorrow's show. So, and once again, some interesting stuff. All right. Before I jump into talking about the oddity with Icewind Dale, Rhyme of the Frost Maiden, do want to point out also this weekend, I'm going to do my best to get my first video out there. It's I don't know if I'm going to call it the D&D dungeon delve or something along those lines, where I'm going to talk about old advanced Dungeons and Dragons modules. So each video is going to be one adventure. And I'm going to kind of discuss things that you can actually take away from that to use in your own games if you want to actually run that adventure, how you can kind of tweak it for a more modern mentality as well. So I am going to do my best to have my first episode of that arrive this weekend. Don't know if I will or not, but I am going to take a shot at it. All right, so there's a contest for you to win Rime of the Frost Maiden, my copy that I got right in my hands. So I have been seeing a lot of comments on the review video. And for one, I thought the first look video had racked out some views really fast. I think in the first 24 hours, it was about 2,300 views, which for me is a big deal. It really is. It really is a big deal. So the Madman says there are a lot of things on DM's Guild supporting Rime of the Frost Maiden. Yes, there are. And in fact, they just launched over on DM's Guild. They just launched the sale on any Arctic related adventures as well. One thing that I would mention, if those of you out there who are interested in running Icewind Dale, you might want to go pick up, it's from Adventure a Week Games. Don't remember exactly the title of it, but they have an adventure campaign that's supposed to be like, it's in the northern wastes, and it's kind of Viking-ish, but it's got a lot of cool encounters in it. You might consider taking a look at that. Speaking of Dungeon Masters Guild, and of course, Drive Through RPG, right? We were talking about different 2 news pieces of new items that are available at Drive Through RPG. I should mention the Gaming Gang is an affiliate of the One Bookshelf sites, including Dungeon Masters Guild and Drive Through RPG. So if you are going to visit either of those sites or Wargame Vault or Drive Through Cards or what have you, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads, and that way, if you do happen to make a purchase, you get a little portion of that sale. And all those little portions really do add up, really do help keep the Gaming Gang website around. So anyway, so I'm seeing all these comments on the review, which the review has garnered more views during its first 24 hours than the first look did. And I have to laugh because there were people complaining for the first look video that, oh my God, you're showing everything in the book. Oh, you're giving everything away. Oh, I wanted to be surprised. And then other people are complaining on the video that you're barely talking about anything here. One guy, which I actually deleted their comment because it was pretty asinine, and then they followed it up with something to try to win the contest. And I was like, bye. But they were like, oh, this guy didn't read the book. He's just kind of skimming over and giving his impression of things. And it's like, yeah, because I don't want to spoil everything in the book. What do you think? I'm going to sit here and talk about every single thing in here? I'm not doing a 20-hour video. But a lot of people are talking about how they're really looking forward to running the horror aspect of Rime of the Frost Maiden. How they're really, really looking forward to all the horror elements of this adventure. It's not a horror adventure, though. That's what kind of threw me off. Now, I will point out that the acknowledgement, or what is it exactly? What did he call it? Afterward. The afterword by Chris Perkins. He talks about how this adventure was inspired by Alien Yeah, there's one nod to Alien in it. There's an encounter. There's something that could happen. That it was influenced by John Carpenter's The Thing. Outside of the Arctic weather, there isn't anything calling back to The Thing. So there are a lot of people out there, and once again, I like the book. I don't hate the book. Some people are. I gave it a 7 out of 10, and people are like, "Wow, this guy really hates that book." A 7 out of 10 is not hating a book. I think it's good. I don't think it's perfect. I don't think it's great, but I do think a good dungeon master, an imaginative, dedicated dungeon master, can tear parts of this apart, rebuild it, and make this an awesome campaign. But as written, as presented, it's not the cat's meow. It's not the end all be all. And it is not a horror adventure. So I'll be the first to admit, I don't sit there, I don't watch all the Wizards of the Coast videos where they're promoting, oh, this is coming, and oh, you can look forward to this, and oh, look at that. I get the feeling that when this hits stores, there are going to be people out there who are going to be disappointed, and they're going to feel like they were misinformed about Rime of the Frost Maid, not just it being a horror adventure. Like I said, it is not. There are elements that you could make horrific and make scary, but it's not presented as like a Call of Cthulhu campaign would be, where you've got horrific images and horror that you're going to deal with and dive into. It's got none of that kind of stuff. So I do want to point out, if you are looking forward to picking up Icewind Dale, and I am not telling people not to buy it. I'm just preparing people to have realistic expectations when they pick it up. But I will say, it's, don't go into it thinking, oh yeah, oh man, John Carpenter's The Thing. Oh yeah. Just like there's discussion in the afterworld. Yeah, in the afterworld. There's probably some discussion going on, but not about this. In the afterword of this book, there's discussion about how isolation comes into play. And there's actually reference to COVID-19 in the current pandemic. And I don't know, maybe I've missed something here, but there is not an overabundance of material in this book that gives the player characters a sense of isolation. That, once again, is something that the dungeon master is going to have to do. And that can easily be put together. It's just kind of like, I'm like, what? I was like, there's like a dreadful isolation. It's like, where? The whole book is all about the adventurers going to all these different settlements and things like that. It's like, where's the isolation coming from? Yes, those settlements are isolated because of this eternal winter going on. I don't know. But like I said, I enjoy it. Here I'm giving you the whole review, right? I enjoy the overall adventure concept. I think there's some really cool encounters and missions and quests within it. There's just, it's just, I don't know, maybe Wizards of the Coast is presenting this differently than what it really is. I don't know, because I don't watch their stuff, right? I don't watch their videos where they're like, oh, hey, we're gonna spend 20 minutes talking about how we've got changes to the Goliath race and things like that, which I don't know. Looking through the information that's in here, they may have changed some stuff with giving them resistance to cold, but as far as like wholesale changes, nah, I didn't notice anything. So I don't know. I do not know. So the madman says that he is likely to run Frost Maiden at some point. They've that he's got one or two other campaigns to run after the current one. Wow, that is you got a lot of stuff planned there, Madman. Flaming Huron says, "Damn, I've played supplements for 5e that are Cthulhu horror and would have never expected Wizards to release one." Well, it's not Lovecraftian horror or anything like that, and it's not sort of the what would we consider like eldritch horror, like oh my gosh, it's like this whole other universe out there. It's I don't know. I don't know where people are getting the idea that it's the horror. I mean, I gotta be honest, the cover artwork with the Frost Maiden like reaching out for the guy who's like almost frozen in the snow. I mean, that's pretty creepy. I do like it. I think it's pretty cool. But no, it's not going to be horror. So, Jorge Rodriguez has arrived. Good to see you, Jorge. Thanks for popping in. We're getting ready to wrap up the show, but I know you'll just go back and watch from the beginning. So, let's see what's going on here. So, wow, we have lost 11,000 frames. So, about 6% of the stream has dropped. All right. Yeah, we gotta take a look. I have to really take a deep dive, see what's going on. And I will do that after we finish up the show. So, all right. Fleming Heron also says, so for people to think it would be horror is a little weird simply because someone says it's inspired by horror movies. I can tell you exactly what Chris Perkins says. And then we will wrap up the show. Okay, so the adventure contains homages to both works. John Carpenter's The Thing and H.P. Lovecraft's novella At the Mountains of Madness. So it says, inspiration came primarily from two sources. John Carpenter's 1982 film The Thing. Well, there are like doppelgangers in this, but doppelgangers really don't play a bit. They're really not a big part of it. I mean, they're in it, but they're not like a major plot point. In fact, you probably won't even bother using them. So, an H.P. Lovecraft's novella At the Mountains of Madness, which is one of my favorite H.P. Lovecraft stories. This adventure contains homages to both works, as well as a few nods to other works of horror, including Stanley Kubrick's 1980 film The Shining, based on the Stephen King novel of the same name, and Ridley Scott's 1979 film Alien. So Chris Perkins is essentially telling people in the afterword that these horror movies and stories and novels are a big influence on this adventure, but this is not a horror adventure. So I don't know. I don't get it. So Jorge Rodriguez says superhero stories are inspired by horror. Yeah, it depends on what you're looking at. Oh my gosh. They're not superhero comics, but take a look at the old EC comics, Tales from the Vault and stuff. Holy cow. So the madman says that he's a bit anal. Family says it's OCD or it's his military service, but he has to be prepared. That makes for a good GM. Dungeon master, game master, whatever, keeper, whatever you want to consider it. I always believe in being prepared as well. I don't mind winging stuff. That's fine with me. But I like to be prepared because I never want to. I mean, usually before I run an adventure, I usually have kind of an idea of where we're going to stop, where I'm going to leave them with a cliffhanger till next time. And I'll have a good understanding of what comes after that, but I really focus on what I think we're going to end up covering that session. And I play long game sessions. I do not play 2.5, 3 hour game sessions. Usually if I'm running a role-playing game, it's about 6, sometimes a little bit longer than that. So Flaming Heron says, well, maybe the madman was also a scout. So Jorge Rodriguez says, Spider-Man could have easily been horror. Yep, that's right. All right, one last thing before I wrap up. We have seen my friend Scott Weigel pop in a couple of times past few shows, who is a friend of mine from high school, who was part of our high school game group, which was the Gamers Guild, which, gotta say, kind of led to the title of the website as the Gaming Gang. See, there was my inspiration. I'll put it in the afterword of the show. So I've had a couple of emails from people asking if I would, could I share like some gaming stories that involved Scott? And I'll be happy to, but I will wait until Scott is actually watching live. Hopefully he pops in again, and I'll be more than happy to share a gaming story or two that involved Scott. But I just feel weird. I mean, telling stories like with Elliot, my best friend Elliot, that's no big deal because, yeah, part of the gaming gang. Not as big a part as he was when we first launched, but he's still getting it a little bit. So Martin O'Brien has popped in as well. So Flaming Heron asked, did I give Scott acknowledgement? I did acknowledge he was in chat and did talk a little bit about Scott. So yeah, so if that's what you're asking. But anyway, so that is it for tonight's show. As I like to point out, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't. And of course, if you do subscribe, ring that notification bell because it will not only let you know when the Daily Dope streams live, Monday through Thursday nights, right here on YouTube. It'll also tell you when I upload other videos as well, such as my current review for Dungeons and Dragons, Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. And of course, when you're not watching videos at the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in gaming news, reviews, comics, movies, TV. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So, Flaming Heron says, I meant for, the Gaming Gang. You got to realize, we did not, Scott, myself, Elliot, Tim Phelan, Daryl Melzer, all of my friends who were in the Gamers Guild, we did not come up with a name because that group was there at the high school when we were freshmen, when we came in. So no, I don't know who gave it that name. So, but yeah, so Scott was not, I was not, I had nothing to do with, the naming of the club, the high school club. So anyway, those of you who are hanging out watching live, thank you very much for keeping me company as I just babble on into the mic, out into the ether. But of course, if you don't have an opportunity to watch live, maybe you end up watching on Memorex. Thank you also for taking time to watch this goofball pontificate during the stream. All in all, anybody who watches, thank you very, very much. And of course, I will be back tomorrow for the final show of the week. So everybody out there, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night / Thursday morning. And of course, as I wrap up all of my videos during this pandemic, unfortunately, please do your best to be smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, let me point out that the things I'm going to be pointing at, if you are just watching the Daily Dope stream, you may not see what I'm pointing at. Usually it will take about 12 hours once the stream is finished for YouTube to allow me to add my end screen. But if you're watching one of my other videos, such as my reviews or interviews, first looks, pastries, what have you, well, then, by all means, click right here and you can subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel. If you click right up here, you'll find the latest episode of my live stream, The Daily Dope. And if you click over here, that's going to show you something that YouTube thinks you might like. Regardless, once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and thank you very much for watching.